If the title of the movie was not nauseating enough, this movie and the lukewarm reception around it should be a reminder to the makers that even the audience is getting irritated with these tongue twisting movie titles, something that should have had a premature death after Sonu Ki Titu Ki Sweetie. Dharma joining the bandwagon in order to fully embrace their love rangification was something that I just did not expect in my lifetime. I leave no stone unturned in defending Kartik Aaryan for his popular choices that are dissed critically, for it is tough to become a bona fide commercial lead in Hindi cinema as an outsider, but my god, can I not defend this movie in any way? Tu Meri, Main Tera, Tu Meri is directed by Sameer Vidwans, whose last collaboration with Kartik Aaryan titled Satya Prem Ki Katha was something that I thoroughly enjoyed, for it shed light on an important and sensitive topic and provided a soft landing approach that did not disregard the gravity of the themes it explored. However, the Sameer Vidwans hook in this film is so paper thin, so bland and so poorly fleshed out that I think those defending this film really have the bar for films set right in hell. The movie sheds light on Rehan and Rumi played by Kartik Aaryan and Ananya Panday respectively. They end up coincidentally sharing the same itinerary when traveling to Croatia. The negging commences in picturesque locations and eventually the pair fall in love with each other. The stumbling block in this relationship as Rehan wants to take the next big step is that Rumi feels a responsibility towards her aging father played by Jackie Shroff, who she cannot uproot from their home in Agra क्योंकि उनकी रूह उस घर में बसी है. How Rehan circumvents this hurdle so that him and Rumi can have a happily ever after is the premise of the movie. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch this movie in theaters or not. The good. Beautiful locations and fleeting earnestness. The only aspect of the film that is in some way redeeming is that it has been shot in beautiful locations. The first half of the film, much like movies like Tamasha or Tu Jhooti Main Makkar, are essentially make my trip ads where the leading pair go from one beautiful setting to the other. In this case, it is Croatia. If you were to put the film on mute and play some ambient music and see the first half, I think it would be a way more pleasant experience than dealing with that constant, irritating Wattpad WhatsApp joke like Chat GPT bickering that evolves into love. The cinematography by a legend like Anil Mehta lends some credibility to this film, providing a brilliant contrast from the saturated colors of Europe to the old world charm of Agra, but the visuals can only do so much to compensate for the nauseating screenplay and acting that we get to see in this excuse for a film that could have easily been an email. While I tried my level best to seek for something more redeeming in this film, I seek out for something redeeming even if the product is crap, anything. I realized that the only two people who actually had chemistry in this film were not the main leads but Kartik Aaryan and Jackie Shroff, who have 2 or 3 moments where they get inebriated and have organic banter that was honestly way better than anything in this film. The only light-hearted and earnest moments in this movie. Why Rehan gravitates towards Jackie Shroff could have been explored with much more depth, as there is a link to Rehan's family and his roots and how this void gets full with a figure like Jackie, but they treat it like any other sequence in the film, surface level and lacking any kind of emotional impact. It was probably the first time I got annoyed with even a legend like Neena Gupta, who honestly hams her way through this film, oscillating between illogical, erratic, leading to us, the audience, getting visibly irritated as the running minutes pass by. Trust me, I really seek for something to rave about in this film, and the Sameer Vidwans hook, something that everyone was looking forward to, that beyond the fluff this movie may have something to say, is introduced so late in the film, left to be merely mentioned in the concluding moments, that it absolutely loses the gravity of the matter. And this makes me conclude that even while I discuss the good aspects of the movie, I have and moaned about the film to all of you. So let's just get to it. The underwhelming aspects. Product placement and sponsored meet cute. The film may be visually beautiful and Anil Mehta through his frames may be successful in marginally distracting us, but I just could not get over the tackiness of the brands that were placed in the frames. Remember the iconic SRK entry in K3G? What makes it iconic? It's the staging, the music and the screen presence of the leading man. All of it culminates into a beautiful entry sequence. Think of this. Do you remember the brands that SRK was wearing in the scene? He was just slick and looked the part. He did not have to compensate his presence or lack of with name brands being plastered in the frame. So when Kartik enters and you have the movie flashing YSL sunglasses or a Philippe Patek watch right at you, I can't help but feel it defeats the purpose of what makes a character cool. It reeks of wanting approval, of wanting to be seen versus being inherently cool. The throwaway product placement of Lakme every time Ananya puts on sunscreen is also another addition of movies being so desperate for revenue streams that they can't help but integrate it in the screenplays too. Tinder also makes an appearance, being the best possible platform where you can find the partner you will get married to, and I haven't seen a more egregious false advertising of a platform. Lack of chemistry and charm. What should be the hook of a movie like this? Leave aside Sameer Vidwans, who will have something to say regarding family and its values. Something social and effective is expected. But what really becomes the hook for a movie like this? A movie advertised as a commercial rom-com. The lead pair should have sizzling chemistry together, and you would want to root for their union. I can't tell you how seeing both the leads was literally like hearing nails on a chalkboard. The chemistry is non-existent, and the trope they use in this film is the age-old notion. You know, when people ask the question, how can you tell whether a man is into a woman? It's if they insult them. So the negging in this film is intended to entertain us, but it's essentially Rehan, played by Kartik, just consistently insulting Rumi and women in general and passing it off as like a regular statement. The conversations have the buzz and trigger words of "tum feminist type ho," typical male ego, mama's boy, red flag, green flag, and it's just exhausting to sit through, as pardon my French, Kartik channelizes his inner harami that seems like a poor imitation of Akshay Kumar and nothing else. The conversations are full of PJs and pop culture references like "mere haath lambe hai to mera naam Kanoon hai," cutting to saying "I'm a joking," because Rehan is hitting on Akhri Pasta's daughter. Laugh, goddammit. Kartik is handed over very pretentious dialogues. Who is saying sup in 2025? The way he hits on an air hostess is borderline creepy, but it is passed off as charming because the assumption is that there is no one hotter in this universe than Kartik in this film. Sexiness is in the subtlety, and there is no subtlety in this film. Kartik at every opportunity intentionally raises his shirt so that women can see his abs, and they have a literal scene where Ananya ki laal tapak rahi hoti hai while Kartik is posing, and it's never hot because it's in your face, and there's nothing sexy about a man announcing on how hot he is or the number of women he can sleep with. It's the idea of sexy, of Kartik wanting to flex any opportunity he gets that makes Rehan just annoying versus charming. The brilliance of a scene with Hrithik Roshan taking off his shirt in Bang Bang and Katrina staring at him is that Hrithik is unaware of how hot he is. So when Kartik in this movie says "I'm sexy and I know it" multiple times, it's slightly wannabe-ish. They literally have an older woman in this film whose sole job is to lech and tado at Kartik. Ananya is essentially a disinterested spectator as Kartik plays the court jester, trying to entertain her. She barely lip syncs, she goes out of the frame when the real dancing starts, and genuinely looks clocked out emotionally in this film. There is zero evolution between both the characters. These problematic thoughts about men and women is passed off as banter. The sister is getting married into a family that is terrible, but it's glossed upon. A random ex-lover is introduced and he serves no purpose to the story. And 2 hours and 25 minutes pass by and I realized that there was very little explored of why Rehan and Rumi even fell in love with each other, other than the fact that he got her theplas in Croatia. The abuse of Saregama and lack of identity. I could still understand the use of vintage Hindi songs in movies like Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani and Dhurandhar, where the integration of these classics still held on to their original essence and they did not butcher them in the process. And if they were creatively altered, they had a contemporary swagger about them, especially if you were to think what Shashwat did in Dhurandhar. However, this collaboration of Dharma and Saregama, at least in this film, seems directionless. I actually did not mind the original songs in this movie, especially Dil Musafir and Hum Dono, but I believe the Saregama collaboration was only done so that they can do this long drawn out medley when Ananya's sister in the movie gets married. And there was literally no thought behind it. What's also frustrating is that it logically makes no sense why Kartik is the star of the wedding, because he, at that time in the movie, is merely the wedding planner, the business he manages with his mother. but it's almost assumed to be normal that the wedding planner is dancing on multiple songs at a stranger's event. The Saat Samundar song where Kartik joins Quickstyle is honestly embarrassing. I'm absolutely blown away by the fact that the maker saw it and approved it, assuming that it looks cool. While Kartik is great in the title track of this movie, the entire medley also just made me facepalm because it almost felt like Dharma was on a mission to ruin our memories of these classics. I mean, making Kartik dance to Sajan Ji Ghar Aaye really infuriated me because it nullifies what makes the Salman Khan moment so special. The surprise of the cameo, the turnaround, there is so much context behind it versus it just being any random dance number. One classic after the other plays, and if you see the trailer of the movie, you can clearly tell that there were songs like Chumma and portions where Kartik was doing the Bhul Bhulaiya step, which have been edited out. But I just feel this movie just lacks its own identity. It features a Kartik who is putting in the physical effort, yes, but it's just to perform classics of already established actors like SRK and Salman, and the physical antics and quips of Akshay Kumar in his acting details. In the film also, Rehan makes sure to reference himself as an outsider and diss Nepo babies, and I feel like Kartik has got stuck in this image of being the crusader of outsiders, and any criticism, like this video, aimed at his work gets protected under this garb of what a tough journey he has had. If you followed Kartik's career and reference his movies where he has played characters like Gogo, Guddu and Chintu, these are real names, the characters were endearing and entertaining for their personalities. And this is the first time where Kartik is playing Rehan, who is largely dependent on his physical looks and the luxury clothes and accessories he plasters all over himself, that eventually it never comes across as natural to Kartik, and Rehan also lacks any kind of personality too, to be even marginally remembered after you step out of this film. Both Rehan and Rumi are incompatible, and Ananya is projected as this talented writer, but a small snippet of her reading during her book launch would tell you no wonder the books were getting Raddi ratings. Dharma seems to be dependent on their own nostalgia of their prime to hook the audience today, and seems to be lost on what it wants to do in the commercial space in Hindi cinema in 2025. As the film progresses, you get tired of the sheer fluff that is their priority. One comedic sequence or song after the other, only for 2 hours to pass and for you to wonder when this film is going to get to its point, and when it does, it's far too late. The theme that the film explores is commendable, but the makers spend way too much time in the fluff, in turn not giving the time and respect to the nuanced theme. Something that I believe Sameer Vidwans did successfully with a film like Satya Prem Ki Katha. Tu Meri, Main Tera, Tu Meri is neither funny nor is it emotionally impactful. It's a random filler episode in a long season of movies this year that will be a mere blip in our memory. But I think there is a desperate introspection that is also required for the production company and the talent involved, because no one is getting fooled with these unanimous glowing reviews for this film. This was quite the struggle to sit through. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about this movie. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.